Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a trampoline park. Please do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Make it to the very end of the video to see where we place Jump World in our city. This is the amount of space required to make the trampoline park. And here are all of the materials that we will need to build it. Begin by placing 2 purple concrete in a row on the ground. 1, 2. Then dig 2 rows to the right of the concrete. 1, 2. And replace those 2 blocks with yellow concrete. On the end of this, place 2 more purple concrete extending right, and then dig 2 more rows in the ground. 1, 2. Place yellow concrete inside of those 2 empty spaces, and then an additional 2 purple concrete extending right. 1, 2. We now want to extend back by 1. Then place 2 glass block extending right. 1, 2. We then want to place a glass pane, leave a gap of 1 in the ground. Alternatively, you can dig and place a red concrete powder here if you like. Then, on the end of this, we want to place a glass block, extend it backwards by 1, place a purple concrete behind it, and then extend right by 1. Like this. We then want to extend every single purple concrete that we have placed up by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then connect all of the purple concretes together at the top. When it comes to the front of the build here, we will simply extend all the way over to the right and connect with a right angle. So what we will then do is just add another row behind this to smooth this off. Just like so. Next, we are going to extend this glass pane upwards by 1, place a glass block on top of the pane like this, and then extend all of the other remaining glass blocks up and connect to the purple concrete with an additional glass block across the top like this. Then, all the way over here on the left where we have these 2 window spaces, we simply want to fill these in with glass pane. On the right side of the build, we want to extend every single purple concrete backwards by 20 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. On the back of the build, we first of all want to extend across the back by placing 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 purple concrete. We then want to dig a row of 3 in the ground, 1, 2, 3, extending right, and replace these blocks with yellow concrete. Then we want to place a row of purple concrete that extends right across the back of the grid and lines up with the front of the build. We then simply want to extend the purple concretes up so that they are as high as the wall that we have just to the left of us now. Join them together across the top, and then fill the remaining space in using glass pane. On the left side of the build here, we are first of all going to place a row of 14 purple concrete extending towards the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We then want to dig a row of 3 in the ground, 1, 2, 3, replace that with yellow concrete, and then bridge the gap here using purple concrete. We then want to make the purple concrete as high as all of the other purple concrete that we have around the build. Once again, join the purple concrete together at the top, and then fill the middle of this in using glass pane. Next, we are going to dig out the entire inside floor of our trampoline park and replace this grass block using red concrete powder. It is worth mentioning that we will have to remove some of the floor later, but I think it's just easier to make the entire floor red concrete powder and then work around that. It's also worth mentioning that when it comes to the actual entrance, you can place smooth stone or red concrete powder or purple concrete or yellow concrete underneath the glass blocks. It's kind of a personal choice. Do a little bit of experimentation, see which one you like the best. I'm feeling smooth stone, but yellow concrete could also be a good alternative. Next, we are going to make the roof. Come all the way to the front left side of the build and place a stone brick slab here. We then want to extend that slab to the left one, forwards one, and then we want to extend right, up, right, up, right, up, right, up, right, and up. The significance is that we want to line up with here. And once we have successfully lined up with that part of the build in particular, we want to start extending down again. So right, down, right, down, right, down, right, down, right. And once we reach the same point that we started, so just above the actual building line, we want to extend the stone brick slabs all the way across to the right, hang off the edge of the building, and then we want to extend all the way to the back and across the back. And if we can do it from this position, although it's a little bit tricky, it's easier to start from the opposite side. So to come all the way back to where we started here, and then if we hang off of the back of the build, I think it's a little bit easier to work from this way. Unless we literally take the stone brick slabs here, and if we extend these backwards using smooth stone slabs, if we extend these back, then this gives us a good starting position for the back. All we're trying to do is make sure that it is even on the front and the back of the build, and as you can see, we actually overshot a row. So as long as your slabs line up with the edge of this window, seemingly, we can then begin to extend up, in, up, in, up, in, up, in, up, and I think that that lines up, but it's easy to find out as if we start from this side, extend in, up, in, up, in, up, in, up. There we go. Perfect. So that lines up nicely. And what we also want to do before we start adding in some stone slabs and such is we want to fill underneath this in with 2 rows of purple concrete. So the first row should be a row of 7. Not that it really matters. We just want to make sure that we cover up all of the empty space. And then the above row would be smooth stone. And my recommendation would be that to connect the roof together front and back, I would first of all place smooth stone block connecting the stone brick blocks together front to back, and then that will give you a nice frame in which you can then just place these slabs around. And I would also then just fill the right side of the roof in flat using smooth stone slabs. Next, we are going to dig 2 rows in front of our trampoline park, extending all the way from the left to the right side, and then we are going to connect to the actual entrance and dig all the way around the side of the trampoline park within the grid, and then replace all of that empty space using smooth stone. Next, we will place a row of white tulips that extends all the way over from the left side of the grid in front of these windows and lines up with the right side of this right window. We then want to dig in the ground right of this and replace all of these blocks all the way to the right, hitting the edge of the grid with smooth stone, which then allows us to dig out these last 2 rows extending forwards, 6 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we want to replace these 2 rows with smooth stone, which will then allow us to place car parking spaces. From the edge of this path, we want to dig to the left 1, 2, 3, and replace those blocks with light grey concrete powder, and then on the end, we want to simply place a white concrete. And we want to continue this pattern, 1, 2, 3, light grey concrete powder, then a white concrete, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, until we get to the very end here. So on the end here, we will not have another row of white concrete, we'll actually have a yellow concrete, which will then extend all the way to the edge of the grid, and all the way next to the tulips. We then want to add another row on top of it, and in doing this, we have kind of successfully boxed in the entire car park. We then want to dig behind all of the rows of white concrete and connect to the pathway or the flowers. And once you have successfully extended all of those rows, we simply want to remove the remaining grass and replace all of it, including the edge of the grid, with light grey concrete powder. Next, we have to make a bunch of banners that will make up the various signs. So throw down a loom, open it up, place a fresh yellow banner in there with some red dye. The first letter we have to make is J. So the chief pattern, pale sinister, and then base. That is J. Next, U. So pale dexter, pale sinister, and then the base pattern. Next is M. So first of all, we have to apply the inverted chevron pattern, throw some yellow dye in there, the chief indented, put red dye back in, and apply the pale dexter, and then pale sinister pattern. Next is P, so we apply the pale sinister, throw some yellow dye in there, and then the perfess inverted pattern. We then want to add the fess pattern, chief, and then pale dexter. So we have our first word, jump. Next, we are simply going to call our wonderful creation Jump World. So W, which first of all, we have to begin with the red chevron pattern. Place yellow dye in there instead of the red with the base indented. Then put red dye in there and apply the pale dexter and then the pale sinister pattern. That will give us W. Next is O, so the pale dexter, sinister, chief, and then base pattern. Next is R, so pale dexter, chief, and then bend. Next is L, so pale dexter, base. And last but not least, we have to make D, so we apply the pale sinister pattern, put the yellow dye in, the lozenge pattern, put red dye back in, then chief, base, and then pale dexter. First of all, we can place our banners on our yellow concrete sign on the left side of the build. So starting from the left, J, U, M, P. Then we leave a gap, W, O, R, L, D, and we have Jump World. You may also choose to apply the word jump directly to the top of the door. I think it adds a little something to the build, but you don't need it if you don't want to. With the entire outside of the build complete, we can now head inside and make all of the fun stuff. For the sake of this tutorial, however, I'm going to use a little bit of magic to make this place a little bit brighter. You can achieve the same effect with light sources, but I actually just prefer this myself. Begin in the front left-hand corner of the trampoline park and extend it inwards diagonally. We then want to replace this block here with an orange wall. We then want to dig right, aka towards the back of the build, we want to dig right by 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and then place a row of 3 light grey concrete, 1, 2, 3. We then want to dig a row of 4 extending right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then dig across by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then want to dig left by 3, 1, 2, 3. Place 3 light grey concrete extending left, 1, 2, 3. We then want to dig to the left and connect back to where we first started. We then want to create a checkered pattern using alternating orange, wool, and orange terracotta. And on the opposite side, as we move through this light grey concrete, by the way, we're just going to place another orange terracotta because that is where the pattern would be. So we want to apply this pattern all the way around the empty space that we have created, just like this. We then want to connect the light grey concretes together, just like this, the 2 rows, and then we want to place blue carpet on top. If you like, you can actually dig out the centre of this and place a slime block inside, just so that you've got another little bouncy surface, and it's nice and covert. You wouldn't even know it's here until you stand on it. And then we are going to dig out the areas left and right of the light grey concrete area. We need to dig down a couple of rows, replace this dirt here with slime block, and also replace the red concrete powder where you can see it with light grey concrete. And then place black carpet on top of all of these slime blocks. And there we go, we have a nice raised surface in the middle here that we can even bounce on, and we can jump into these pits. Moving all the way over to the back left hand corner of the build, we want to start by placing a row of 3 light grey concrete extending up from this corner. 1, 2, 3. Then, right of this, we want to place 2 light blue concrete, 1, 2, and then a light grey concrete, 2 more light blue, 1, 2, and then a light grey concrete. We then want to raise up all of the various concretes that we've just placed to equal the height of the first concrete. Then we want to come all the way back to where we first started with this first initial row of light grey concrete and extend forwards 2 rows using light blue concrete, and then a light grey, 2 light blue, light grey, and then we want to raise up all of the light blue concretes and all of the light grey concretes to equal the height of the surrounding concretes. Next, we want to extend the 2 inward pair of light grey concrete rows together at a right angle to form a square. We then want to extend the corner of this forwards to line up with the light grey concrete here at the front, and to the right to line up with the light grey concrete on the right. We then want to place a light grey concrete here in this corner, and the purpose for this is that we can now connect the outside of this together using light blue concrete like so, and then fill each one of the 4 sections in using slime block. We can then place black carpet on top of all of these slime. Add a set of ladders here on the left and right sides of the build, and then we will be able to climb these ladders and we can hop off onto each one of the 4 mini trampolines. In the back right corner of the build, we want to stack 2 blue concrete on top of each other and then extend them left by 3. 1, 2, 3. We then want to add another row in front of this. We then want to dig to the left of the back row, 1, and then extend forwards by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then extend to the side of the build. Fill all of this in using yellow concrete. We then want to dig out the center of this. Underneath the purple concrete here, you can either extend the purple concrete down or place yellow concrete underneath. We, of course, want to dig the red concrete powder out from underneath this, place blue concrete underneath this, and then we are going to dig out all of the dirt and place a slime block where the dirt used to be. Then we will add different coloured carpets on this a little bit later, but we have to do this again, so we'll do it all in one go. We also want to add a set of stairs that extends up. I think that we're going to place it in this position here so that it doesn't latch onto the window. You could even place upside down stairs if you want like a more solid platform, but of course we'll be able to jump onto this and do a bit of bouncing. But as I mentioned, we actually want to have this exact same thing again. We want to leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3 moving forwards, and then place 2 blue concrete stacked up on top of each other. Extend left 3, 1, 2, 3, like this. Add another row in front. Dig to the left of this back row. Extend forwards by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dig to the side. Fill all of this in using yellow concrete. Dig out the red concrete powder. And underneath here as well, place blue concrete here and either purple or yellow concrete on the side. We then want to dig out the dirt and replace it all using slime block. And then we want to add stairs leading up here. Also, ladders work as well, by the way. I just like stairs as well, just to add another little bit of detail into the build. Now, in front of these, we are also going to have tucked away in this corner a 2x3 row of blue concrete with a double chest in front. We are then going to place item frames in front of the blue concrete, and you always have to wear special socks in these places, so we are just going to put a bunch of different boots in the item frames and then stack the chest with them as well, so just adding a bit of realism to the build. And last but not least, we are actually going to fill all of the slime pits in using our various colours of carpet. It doesn't really matter what method you use to do this. Just to make it a little bit easier for myself, I like to kind of like do it systematically like this and then swap out some of the different carpets that like touch each other that shouldn't. So we'll probably place, say, like a pink or a white here. There we go, that looks great. So we can use a similar system, start somewhere different in the hotbar so that it's a little bit different to the opposite pit. You will, however, get some dupes again, and then we can replace these with something else. So I'm feeling a green here, and perfect. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the final step in completing our trampoline park. This tutorial is complete, however the video hasn't ended yet. We still have to add our trampoline park jump world into our city. For the time being, we are going to place Jump World next to IKEA. The reason for this is that we will eventually create a retail park in which IKEA, Jump World, and many other builds will all be together. And that's it. I do hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial, ladies and gentlemen. Please do remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I do hope that you are enjoying building your city as much as I am enjoying building mine. If you do want to make anything else by me, check out the description below for the mini city and city builds playlist. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.